Did we succeed in our quest to go down to only 3 freezers? Stay tuned to find out. Well, as you can see, I am still standing outside in front of our scary dilapidated shed that holds our 4th freezer. And I'm going to show you just how much progress we've made on getting it emptied. And as I open, ta-da! Still very, very full. And buried underneath all of that is all of my tomatoes that I tucked away in here. I believe there is close to 60 pounds, might even be more than that, of tomatoes. So that's a lot that we still have to get put away. About a month ago, on our original channel, Hickory Croft Farm, I posted a video about a freezer challenge. And basically what that freezer challenge entailed was going from the 4 freezers we'd managed to accumulate over the growing season this year down to 3 freezers before January 1st. Well, as you have now guessed, we are 3 weeks till January 1st. And do you think we're down to 3 freezers? Heck no, you just saw that 4th freezer. And as we look through the 3 freezers in the house, we're not even counting the freezers that are part of the fridge, you can see we have still managed to accumulate a lot of food. Now that's not a bad thing, because having a lot of food as we go into these pantry challenges in January is an excellent asset. And that is what we hope to achieve every year. But I still would like to only have those 3 freezers. Now, first step, of course, is going to be to organize. And that's what this video is all about. We are going to dismantle the freezers, always fun, right? And see what's actually in there and make a plan to use some of it, and then reorganize and weigh it and put it all back so that we know just what's in those freezers coming into the January-February challenge. Now, what that really entails, I have no idea, because I honestly don't know what's all in the bottom of these goodies, but stay with us. We're about to go and kind of unload. I think I'm going to tackle 1 freezer at a time because I got some plans, which I will tell you about as we go. Now, one of the things that really helps for me with freezer organization is making cat food. You've just kind of seen a video, I don't know, it's probably about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago now, on our cat food. And basically what cat food is a freezer clean out, because we put things into the freezer all the time for the cats, that's stuff that maybe didn't make the cut for us to eat. And it kind of builds up and builds up. Now the downfall to the cat food is it still has to go back into the freezer, even if it is amalgamated into a more condensed form that takes up less space. It still has to have room to go back. Another thing that I really want to make is lamb breakfast sausages, the little round patties. We love those. All right, so we've opened her up and we're looking kind of at what we've got. I really would like to try and chisel out some of this ice here for, you know, defrosting it, but we'll just see how it goes. It might just all go right back. But here, I even have tomatoes in this freezer, which I shouldn't. They should all be outside. But there are my 2 packs of ground pork that we're going to be making into lamb sausages. Not this video. That's going to be next freezer challenge video when we talk about all the things we're going to do with all this stuff. So that's going to need the ground lamb next. I will be honest, I think the rest of this freezer, unless I've got some cat food, we're going to just leave it at the moment. No, that's rabbit. What are you? Cat food. Rabbit for cat food. So that's got to come out and go in its own bowl as well. This is working at such a weird angle. I'm going to leave this at this point because this is the upstairs freezer. And most things in here are stuff that we regularly use. I do see a few things that need to come out, but we're going to address that after I've got all the meat and things organized for the cat food. So we're going to, from this point, go downstairs and work on getting a few things out of the freezers down there. All right, so we are down in the dungeon, in the pantry, and it is time to now go into the big freezers here and really kind of find all those items for cat food. And it turned out we had 4 pounds of the pork, so we need 12 pounds of the ground lamb. Now, if we don't have that, I'm not going to worry because I don't want to deplete it completely because we still like ground lamb for a lot of other things. So this freezer here is supposed to be our lamb and fruit freezer. Now, it's definitely gotten some other items in it. Chicken, I think there's chicken. There's probably a little bit of rabbit. There's a few things. So there's going to be some surprises in here. But The main thing we're going to be taking out of this one right now is all the ground lamb and hopefully some stuff for cat food, which should really free up some space because this will be the freezer that I want to put the cat food back into once it's in its little sour cream containers. This is intimidating, I have to admit, but it is time to get going. And the nice thing is, right on top, we have rabbit for cat food. Pretty sure this is another one. Rabbit for cats. Our cats eat a lot of rabbit. Now, the funniest story here, we went to the grocery store 2 days ago, I guess. We shop at Superstore often for some of our items. I'm going to shut this while I tell the story. I don't want to lose my cold air in here while I tell this story, but it's quite comical. So we went to Superstore. We don't usually even check the flyers, to be honest, because we always just have a few items that we buy. The whole milk, our sour cream comes from there because they have good quality. Our cheese comes from there because they have good quality. That is a product we like at a price we can afford. It turns out that we went and we actually bought some Christmas gifts there. And we spent, I want to say it was $326, something like that. Anyways, not a lot of it was on food product. It was more on gifts and things like that. We were planning to use our President's Choice points. It was a perfect scenario. And as we were paying, the lady says, do you know where the turkeys are? And we thought, what are you talking about? And she says, well, you got a free turkey. And it's kind of funny because we giggled because we didn't even know that there was a free turkey on offer that week. And it's the same scenario as last year. Last year, we went and did our Christmas shopping and got a free turkey. And you know what? That turkey is still buried in freezer number 2 over there. And I'll show you it in a second, or I'll splice it in over this clip when we finally dig it out and find it. So anyways, now we have 2 huge turkeys and I still haven't cooked any of them. So hopefully this Christmas, we're going to get one of these turkeys cooked up because it is about time. I don't know why we haven't cooked them. It just is sort of one of those things that because we didn't produce it, it always seems to go on the back burner. It's like we have fish in there that we sometimes make fish and chips, but we very rarely eat product that we don't grow. And we never would buy turkey. It was just a case that they were free, so why not? And it's just kind of sat in the freezer. And space is at a premium. So when you see in the other one, we still have, I think, 5 geese. I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll see when we get there. But there is a lot of food in these freezers, and we just added another turkey. And in the fridge, we have 7 rabbits that have to get into the freezer, and we have more to butcher, and we also have more chickens to butcher. So these freezers need to be emptied so that we can keep filling them. It is a great problem to have. All right, so I started with emptying above our fridge, that little freezer, and all these containers basically came out of there, and all of them are meat and stuff that we've just kind of tucked away over the last few months for cat food, along with those couple big bags that I took out of this freezer. So we are starting to get somewhere. I can see the meat, which is a good thing since that's the part that we are looking for right now. Remember, we need 12 pounds. Oh, let's see. I might not be able to get it all. There's a lot still in here. 1, 2, now I needed 12 pounds. So there is 4 of that. I still have a lot left in this bag. Everything's just going to collapse. I know it. We have all sorts of stuff in here, and this is so frustrating to me because I can never get anything that I want out of here. It's just so frustrating. Part of me wants to dive in and just take everything that I want out of here, but then that means I have to process everything really fast. One thing that we do also want to try making this week is some beef jerky to use some of these roasts. We have probably, I'm going to be on the cautious side and say 20, 25 roasts in this freezer, and we have more coming. So I don't need to be keeping these, and we don't eat roasts a lot. So I want to try and turn this into something that we eat more. And I think jerky could be a really fun one. Lamb jerky. If it tastes good, it'll go like hotcakes, believe me. Again, this is trying to convert food from the freezer to easily consumed food, I guess. Because sometimes we're working on a time crunch and you just want to grab something quickly, and there's nothing more frustrating than needing to make something from scratch all the time. Even if that item is made from scratch, i.e. beef jerky or the sausages or things like that, I didn't have to get it out, unfreeze it, season it, and do all that other mumbo jumbo before I cook it. So I think I'm going to take some of these out because they will take probably 2 days to unthaw in the fridge. So I'm going to try and see if I can get this out here. My tower is going to fall. I know it. But you can see down there, this is all loins and chops off of various sheep. So again, this is the loins and the chops are just something that we very rarely eat. Let's just, there went the collapse. It fell. So as I'm digging down into the pit here, I'm finding that the bottom of this is, again, it's just stuff that we never use. When you get into starting to produce your own meat product, you really start to fine tune and realize those cuts that you like and the cuts that the family does not like. And I will admit, our family hates dealing with bones. And so the more we can get from the butcher deboned, whether it's as stewing meat or ground or even roasts that are deboned, it is so much more useful. And this is the problem that we have is over the years, we've had chops and shanks and things like that, and they get left from sheep to sheep to sheep. Some of these down here are probably 4 or 5 years old because they just haven't been consumed. Maybe over the Pantry challenge, we'll try and make ourselves use those and have some lamb chops at least once a week, maybe. Let's see if we can hold me to that. So in the end, I've got 21 pounds of ground lamb in the crate. I also moved a couple of the loin chops up and sat them in the top of that crate so that in the next week or two, we will have a loin chop meal just to use them up. And at least that starts to make a dent. I'm not even going to go through the roast. I have no idea how many pounds. Each one is probably about 3 pounds, 3.5 pounds. Some of them are a little smaller, but there's got to be at least 25 in here. I'm not even going to start moving them around. I know they go right to the bottom, so we'll just keep working at it. So next step, I think, is going to be going through some of the veggies that are in here, because all the veggies are actually supposed to be in the other freezer, but there's not a lot of room in there either. So as I'm organizing this freezer, one thing I'm noticing is we have a terrible, terrible habit of just bunging stuff in. We throw it in a bag and we just throw it in. So I am going through and organizing into my canning boxes, since I like to hang on to these anyways to put my jars back into. So they're great because they're just lying around in the pantry anyways. But so far, I have managed to find 8 little bags of the cut up summer squash that we use for making bread. We already pre-portioned those so that it's just a case of unthaw one in a bowl and put it in. It works great. I've also got 5 pre-portioned bananas that we bought on the cheap from the grocery store. And I found this little tidbit here. This is a Kajari melon, which is probably, I'm going to guess and say 2021. It might be 2020 because we haven't had a lot of success with Kajari melons. But that's going to go on the top because we really need to use that up in some smoothies and stuff because it's super freezer burnt and all bunged together. So that's definitely needing to get used up. But this is a great way to kind of organize some stuff and use up things as we go through the freezer. I really hope I can keep this organized after I get it organized, because I have to tell you, it is awful. Anyways, so I'm finding all sorts of goodies in here. There's a couple silky chickens in a bag that were to be cooked up and then used for broth. Now they're getting a little freezer burnt because we just bunged them in a bag. We didn't vacuum seal them, so they need to get used up. There's a lot in here that needs to get used up. I'm so thankful that the Pantry Challenge is coming, and that's really going to push us to use what we have here rather than keeping adding to it. Even if we are adding off the farm, we are getting to that point of year where most things are harvested. So fingers crossed we can get this down. I do need to make a lot more things anyways. In here we have a lot of fruit, and fruit is a wonderful thing because we eat a lot of smoothies. But now that we've started making our own yogurt at home with the store-bought milk, link to the video above, we're going to be using a lot more jams and jellies. And jams or jellies are something this year that I decided I wasn't going to make very many of, but I'll show you where we're at because I just found a box of stewing meat. Yay! Because I need to make some lamb stew as well. It's funny because every time I move something, it all collapses again. I hate cleaning out a freezer. I hate deep freezes. I really would really like to have upright freezers. I know it's not as efficient and it's a waste of space, and I know that, but I do think I would just use it better and I would use all the stuff in it so much better. But I'm not investing in those at the moment because I have 4 chest freezers. Anyways, as I stated, I think we're going to leave it there. I've got a lot of meat out and a lot of stuff for cat food. So we're going to pause for a moment, regroup tomorrow after these have unthawed and I've started kind of getting things going on the processing of this product. And then we will see where we're at.